Your emotions are overrated. Throughout my process of the endeavors that I've been able to pursue or am ongoingly pursuing, emotions are always going to arise, and it's up to you to have a level of discernment to determine if that emotion is going to push you towards your goal or pull you away from your goal. And you have to understand that emotions are temporary, and when you make decisions off your emotions, then things can always be chaotic. And the reason why is because, have there ever been a situation, I know there's been a situation, but has there ever been a situation where you are literally about to make a decision and you do it off emotion, and then you realize a couple of days later, like, why the fuck would I do that? It's because with emotions being temporary, you were feeling temporary in that moment. And with you feeling temporary in that moment and having that regret later on, that temporary moment was how you felt in that moment. So when you felt a certain way in that moment, that's how you responded, because that's how you felt. And if you feel a certain way about something, that's how your outcome will be. Feelings, with feelings being temporary. So let me rephrase that. Your emotions dictate the way you feel, and the way you feel is how you're able to produce. If you feel like shit, if your emotions are shit and you feel like shit, your life will be shit. If you're if your emotions are in a great state, you will feel great. That means you'll go produce great. And with you understanding that, oh, I remember when I felt a certain way about this and had a fucked up decision. Emotions are what get people locked up and go to prison. They felt a certain way about something, and they let their anger emotion engulf them and enrage them to do something super outlandish, and now they're doing time for it. And I'm reading this book right now, and I'm rereading, but it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This book is by Mark Manson. It's a number one New York best time seller. And it kind of just gives you like your aha moments. And the reason why I'm rereading this book is because sometimes, like, even early on, even like a few years ago, like, I kind of cared about people pleasing just a little bit. And it would get to a point where it was like, I'm draining so much energy on this person and I'm not pouring it into my cup. I'm not really getting anything out of it. And you generally have to understand what it is that you want. You have to focus on the things that are going to push you towards your goals and put you outside your comfort zone so that you can continuously grow. But the moment you start pouring into your cup and stop you the moment you stop pouring into your cup and you start pouring into others' cup, then your cup will be empty, and then you have nothing else to pour into yourself. And then you have to search out externally for something instead of going internal to refill your cup. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can't help everybody. You can only help those that want to be helped, number one. And number two, if you are out here pleasing everybody, then you generally have no respect for yourself. And the reason why I say it is because all these people that you're trying to quote unquote please, would they do the same for you in return? Number one. And if they will, then they're people you want to keep around. But there will be a point in time where they should start pouring into you and making you become a better person. But if the relationship is not a two-way street, it is absolutely draining you 100%. And you have to understand this. You have to really evaluate who the people you're surrounding yourself with, so that you can be on a constant momentum shift at all times. Because the moment that momentum dilutes, then you'll see everything will start to get foggy. You'll have fear. You won't feel like doing shit. You'll feel lazy. You'll feel lethargic. And you feel like, why the fuck am I doing this? And you'll have no purpose. Everything will just feel meaningless. But the moment you have people that are pouring into you, it's a two-way street. You're pouring into yourself. You're learning how to communicate. You're investing in your knowledge. You're investing in yourself. You're putting yourself in certain situations and circumstances to not only grow, but also learn. You're eating different food. You have better habits. All these things are a building compound effect, so that it'll build you up for other endeavors that you want to pursue. It all starts with you, and it all starts with the little things. You guys may think the little things are not important, but the little things, I kid you not, are what got me to where I am today. And one of the things that I will say is that when I was maybe around 18, 19, I didn't really talk to people at all. The only people I would talk to were the people that were basically within my circle. I didn't really talk to people outside, whether it was a neighbor, whether it was people on the street, whether it was a clerk, whatever the case may have been. I didn't really talk. It might have been a high, and that was it. But I realized that if I want to do big things in real estate, I have to learn how to communicate. And what did I start doing? I start having small talk within the elevator, just saying, "Hey, how's it going? Like, how's your weekend? What'd you end up doing? Like, doing X, Y, and Z." And as I kept doing that shit, day by day, week by week, everything started to shift. I was able to build confidence within myself. I was able to learn. I was able to put myself in certain situations I never thought I would be able to do. And not only that, me being able to communicate also brought me opportunities for me to evolve myself in the career path that I wanted to do. If it wasn't for me taking the risk and taking a bet on myself and really challenging myself and putting myself in uncomfortable situations to communicate with people, I wouldn't be where I am today. And you have to realize that you're your biggest accountability factor. No one's going to want this shit more than you do. If you don't want this shit more than you want to fucking breathe and you want to live, don't even do it, because there will be hiccups down the road, and it's going to be up to you if you let that roadblock stop you. And if you let that roadblock stop you, then this shit was never meant for you and you were just never cut out for it. But the thing is that you can make yourself be cut out for it by having different triads and putting yourself in certain situations that build your resilient strength. It's all a fucking muscle. Let's say if you lost some money, right? Let's say you lose $1,000, right? Let's say you're like, oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, fuck, bro, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Basically, you're communicating to yourself that $1,000 meant so much to you. And sometimes in some situations it can, but you're so attached to money that you let your emotions get attached to it and you feel like shit because you're so attached to the $1,000. Money can't even fucking talk. It has no fucking soul. It's just a sheet of paper. And when people put this shit on a pedestal, they think it's so far and out of reach for them that they'll never think that it's possible for them to make a lot of it. If you believe something is hard, it'll always be hard. And if you believe something is easy, it'll always be easy. I remember reading this one little subliminal message, and nothing is easy and nothing is hard. It's only if you're familiar with it and if you're not familiar with it. If you've been able to cook for a significant amount of time, cooking is easy to you because you're familiar with it. If you've been working out for a prolonged amount of time, you've built the discipline to be able to get the fuck up and go to the gym because it's familiar. When shit is unfamiliar to people, that's when people think the shit is hard. But when it's familiar to people, that's when the shit is hard, or when the shit is easy. And that's why all this shit stems through your emotions and your feelings. You have to understand your emotions and your feelings and differentiate the two. How you feel is what will feel normal to you, and your emotions are sporadic. You may feel mad at one moment, you may feel happy one moment, you may feel pissed off about something, you may feel enlightened about something. All these things are temporary, but what makes it a feeling is how much energy you conduct within that emotion. If you primarily focus on being happy and you're always your emotional state becomes your feeling state. So you have to determine what emotions are going to get you to that feeling state. And when you get to fucking do things that make you feel good, it's already going to be on autopilot because you've trained yourself to be that. There's something in the mind called the RAS, your reticular activation system. And basically what that thing does, it's almost like your photographic memory in a sense. So if you're constantly thinking about things, let's say I'm constantly thinking about TVs or some shit, right? So my reticular activation system is going to find different circumstances, opportunities that TVs are in that environment. So let's say if I'm walking down the street, I might turn my head and see a TV because that's what my mind is seeing, and my mind saw in the peripheral. And that's what I'm feeding in the inputs. That's why the inputs are important. Inputs is what you feed yourself, right? So you have your emotion, then your emotions produce a feeling, and your feelings produce an outcome, which your outcomes give you inputs. So basically having that level of discernment within your emotion will allow you to have certain inputs, and then those inputs produce a certain feeling, and that feeling produces a certain result, and then it's just a continuous cycle over and over and over and over and over again. And I know I'm kind of going a little bit within what I'm talking about, but a lot of this shit just stems from your emotion. And if you don't have a level of discernment when it comes to your emotions, you will be fucked for the rest of your life. That's it for today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.